My ex-girlfriend invited me to her wedding with the intention of humiliating me by showing off her rich new partner. So I brought a special guest as my plus one, and by the end of the night, she was left crying because her marriage was over. Despite her yelling, I kept my calm and reminded her that every man has different needs. Ben clearly came from an affluent family, hence, he might not care as much as me about his career, but I liked my career. I also told her that if she wanted a man like Ben, she should be with him. I told her that we should not argue about this further and that she could move out of our place as soon as she could. Her eyes widened, and she asked me how I could afford to pay rent. I explained to her that I had received a raise in my salary and that I was now capable of paying the entire rent without having any roommates. Hearing this, she began to shout, telling me that I was trying to show off in front of her. She told me how Ben was richer than me and even had his own house, which his father had bought for him. She kept yelling that I needed to change myself and become more complacent. She then sneered at me, saying that at the end of the day, women wanted a house husband and not a man who could earn more than them. At this point, I asked her to shut up as I was tired of arguing with her in the middle of the night. I told her she had until the end of the month to move out, and until then, she could sleep on the couch. I could hear her still grumbling, but I ignored her and went back to sleep. Fortunately, over the week, Lily started to pack and slowly move out her things. I was starting to get excited thinking about the prospect of finally having this entire place all for my own. On her last night, when I came back home, I was shocked to see Lily and Ben sitting on our couch. I looked at her curiously, and she informed me that because this was her last night at this place, she wanted to show Ben where she lived. I couldn't believe the audacity she had to bring another man into this place without asking me, knowing that I was going to be back. I didn't want to be rude to Ben as I thought this wasn't his fault, so I shouldn't be rude to a guest. I politely greeted him, but to my surprise, he looked at me with contempt and didn't even bother to acknowledge my presence. I decided to not take it personally and went to freshen up. Later, while I was cooking pasta for myself in the kitchen, Ben came to get some water. He stood there watching me for a minute, which made me feel awkward. I asked him if there was something he wanted, but he gave me the same contemptuous look as before. I decided to ignore his presence and continue to cook so I could take the meal back to the bedroom and eat in peace. After I was done eating, as I was about to come downstairs, I overheard Lily and Ben talking.